We are back again. Yeah, episode 7. What is poppin'? What are we doing, everybody? What's going on around here, huh? We had fun. All right. Let's go. All right. So, last episode we had a ball, and today we're gonna have more fun. Guess what? I'm on TRT, and I absolutely love it. Shout out Alpha Health, New Jersey. We love you. Really changed my life. You know, by week 3, it's like blam, your eyes light up. So, gentlemen, if you're out there, you're 40, join the club because this is how much fun we're having. You got enough energy now to do a show at 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. Come on, this is how we live in. So, I don't know, I'm going to dive right in. So a lot of the times here, just to be kind of ridiculous, I guess when it happens when, you have kids, you have a wife, and also I'm naturally corny. I'm a cornball. So I got bad dad jokes for days, Sometimes you ask for sriracha and, and I call it Miss Racha, Miss Sir, stupid stuff, your dad, you got these terrible jokes to give out. So the other one, I told my wife to embrace her mistakes, and she gave me a hug, and then she kicked the dog. So I guess she loves the dog better than she does me. She's running around the house, kids are acting crazy, trying to change diapers. My son will run around with, leave his pants and just go, I'm naked, and run around like a lunatic. And my wife asked my son, like, where's your pants? And I look at her and I say, I don't hear you breathing heavy. Because you got to dad it up, and then sometimes, like, she's mad, quite often actually mad at me, and she'll be and I'm like, well, what are you, a bike from the 1980s? You a Huffy, you a Huffy Sigma pedaling around. So all right, let's get into some things here. This last week we had things with my son. And, we've gone through a couple schools and things like that. The school he's at is much better, but you start to learn things when you're like tackling the issues like inside these school systems. The standards are bad right now. So like they're basing things on like average. So obviously, if you got any wits about you and everybody's worse, the average kid is now worse than a kid from like 20 years ago. So now if your kid was average 20 years ago, he was in fail land. And they're trying to convince me. And, wife's like, yeah, everything's great. And I'm like, no, that's not, stop making my kids dumber. They got commercials on the TV. Did you know 73% of 9th graders in New Jersey can't read? But yet somehow they're all graduating. What's going on there? Oh, you can't read? You're 14? Mommy and daddy fucked up, or school system passing you by just to collect your tax dollars. So, don't get it twisted. There's some good teachers, some good programs. They do help, but like overall, you got to be weary of these things. You got to pay attention because, they'll tell you everything's fine and dandy. And then, your kid don't know what a circle is, what the fuck, you passing them? And then, they second grader based on kindergarten levels. Like, let's get realistic. That's how they make us complacent. They tell you everything's all good. Your son's average, but then your kid can't spell and he's 27 years old. 27, can't do it. Figure it out. Send yourself back to the service. Get back to kindergarten. But anyways, that these are just hurdles that we have at the house, and like things that we go through. So I try not to, let her get complacent. But she gets all happy. It's exciting. Our son's progressing. Compared to where he was, a while back. It's been a rough road, but I think parenting at home and working, that stuff's important. But let's have a ball with it. Yeah. I, when I'm at the store and I'm out in public or doing that, going about my day, shopping, going into the cleaners at a gas station, I see an old woman that needs help. I'm helping her. So like, whatever happened to helping old ladies? Like, did like that go out of style? Is that not cool? Like you see old Meredith like trying to reach up the shelf for like, organic peanut butter, and you just stand there and stare at her. Get up, get off your ass, go help old Meredith get the peanut butter. Be a gentleman. Get your life together. I can't stand it. But I guess like the crazy thing is like I'll walk up and be like, hey, but like sometimes the old lady will see me coming and I'm like, oh, she thinks I'm a predator. But meanwhile, I just want to help her get the Jiffy off level 7 shelf at the store. So, I mean, I don't know what happened, but usually they're very thankful. And I guess you could see it in their faces sometimes that they're like, wow, no one's been nice to me in 22 years. Where did it go? I can't tell you. If my kids, I swear, 15 years from now, 10 years from now, we live next door to an old woman and she's out there shoveling and my sons are just staring out the window, I'm going to kill them, okay? You get out there, you put your boots on, you help Meredith, you shovel the snow. And if it's summertime and she's carrying stuff in the back of her car and you see her shaking, you get over there and help her. I don't care. Do the right thing. That's how you're supposed to live, Just tired of this. You see her, working towards a heart attack, raking her leaves out of her walkway. Get over there. Start helping. Do some nice things. She's moving leaf piles and, so she doesn't slip when it rains. And I got 2 healthy young boys in the house. Yeah, going cross street. Of course, your sons will be mad at you. Like, I don't want them, Dad, But I think that's what you got to do. You got to instill that in them. I was always like that younger. You take care of people, but I just feel it's the right thing to do. And I would have friends that would be like, why are you going out of your way? I mean, I'm not trying to get into heaven, but it's like, do the right thing. What if it was your mother, your sister, somebody you knew? Like, come on. It's put some more good energy out there. That's it. And another thing that just drives me absolutely bonkers. Okay. So I lived in condos a couple times, and the last set of condos I lived in, it was the 55 and older. We weren't supposed to be there, but we're there because we gotta like get shit together at the moment. But condo people, what choices have you made in life? You worried about like, mowing your lawn. They do it for you. And then don't complain about the grass clippings, okay? Your gutter's getting cleaned. Pay your dues. Pay the village, pay your dues, go through your gate, and you stop crying about everything. You're living on top of each other like, like ants on a piece of celery or something. Trying to like spread the peanut butter around the neighborhood or something. But like, I don't get that. Like, I'm not the type, unless you're like burning my house down or like, you're blasting music through the wall and my kids are trying to sleep. I'm not bothering you. I don't got time to complain about my neighbor. I do got time to complain about horrible things that go on with all the foods and shit like last time, but not about, Nancy next door. There's much more important things in life. It's just crazy. So pay your fees, make sure your yard gets raked, and don't worry about nothing else, because I don't know what you do in your life. If you don't like it there, move. Get in your car, Nancy, get down the street, go, rent the RV, travel to the fucking, what do you call it? The Great, the Colorado River. What do they what do they call that? The Grand Canyon. Get your ass out to the Grand Canyon. Hop out of your van. Take a picture. Wear some binoculars. Look around and go, this is what I'm here for. Rather than crying about grass clippings. I don't know what's going on in your life where that's the most important thing. Get it together. Okay, Nancy? I know your husband's dead, but figure it out. Smile once in a while. Stop spreading misery around the village. Get out of here. Pissed off at an old lady who's probably sad inside. I got I got something wrong with me. So, that's it's like, get out of nitpick village. Start pottery classes or something. And it's like the same thing with my wife. Like, we need to get her a hobby. So I've been trying to get her, to work out with me and like try to get healthy. And I can't get her to break the threshold. She almost did last week. Like, she was like, I'm going to come down and work out. I'm like, we could bring the kids because, like, you guys know, the kids come with me. They're hanging from the ropes. They're jumping on the bars and the leg press. They're going nuts. They're having a ball. And she's here. She's upstairs during some of this. And it's like, babe, come down. I'll show you some stuff because I want her to be healthy. I want her to live. I love her. I want her to be in shape and feel better because I know how I felt before, like, I started getting in shape, and like, it sucked. I had what you call fat problems. All right. I had sweat under the skin folds of my, my breast, what ham hocks? What are these things on the side of me? You love handles? Yeah, nobody loves to handle them when there's sweat dripping out of them, smelling like an old sponge that you've been using in your sink for 6 months. These are the things, my knees are brittle, like I'm stepping on, spilt cereal on the floor. That's what happens when you're the fat guy. Your ankles hurt just from like going to the bathroom. So I had all that things. Then you get a hernia. Now I got holes in me. That's what I get. That's what I get for being, chubby checker, running around the village. But I'll tell you what, I feel a lot better. The back and spine problems are gone, and I want my wife to feel better. I know when, she's 40 now, and I noticed it. When you start moving, you start feeling good. My joints are nice, and because I'm health optimized. I'm optimized hormonally. Like, let's go. I went to the doc. So I sent the wife to the doc. She just started. And hopefully we get her, firing like on full steam. That'd be great. 2 of us, like Fulton's Folly, ripping up the river like the paddle wheel. Do, 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 do. That's how we're going. We're going from Louisiana up to the Great Lakes, okay? Mimmel. You guys remember Mimmel? That's how you remember the states that went along the Mississippi. What is it? Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Indiana or whatever, and then like Louisiana. So that's Mimmel. He's shaped like an elf. If you don't know who he is, go look on your map. And if you haven't learned Mimmel, it's probably because you're in school today with the 20 degrees less average score that's going out there. Hey, we'll take your tax dollars and send your kid through just a program of non-growth. Yay! Oh, I'm out of it. I'm losing it today. I can't. So, also bouncing back on topic. When I was chubby, self-esteem. I mean, I've always had self-esteem. I've just been that kind of guy, extrovert, hyped up, ready to go. But, after a while, I think it like wears on you. It's like water torture on your brain. You're looking in the mirror, you're like, damn, I'm chubby. Damn, what's going on? Is my tit touching my stomach? Like, what's happening to me? So, your self-esteem starts to get a little shot. And, but I was always boastful. Like, even with my wife, I think that's why she's still married when I was, Gigantor from, I don't know, a He-Man cartoon or something. But, and then, I always kept it like, yeah, I'm the man, you know what I mean? But, deep down, like you're falling apart, okay? When your shoulders make noises you never heard of before because you're laying on them, laying down shouldn't be the thing that hurts you. Your bed shouldn't be a torture chamber, okay? So that was one of the pluses of getting rid of, all this weight and, putting some muscle back on. I'd be singing "Shame in My Heart" like I'm Otis Redding, I'm not on the dock of the bay. I got shame in my heart. Just, just totally losing it. Singing songs, but like fatigue wise, man, like, it's gone. That's why we're here doing a podcast at 11 o'clock at night. I got kids. I got to take care of them. I got a wife that sometimes loves me and sometimes doesn't, but I love her no matter what. Even if I'm driving things home like a sledgehammer. I'm John Henry. Forget about the steam thing banging in the train tracks. I'm John Henry when it comes to like beefing with my wife. I'm going to beat the machine. Okay. And then after I beat the machine, I'm going to collapse on the floor because I pushed my heart too hard, and all this is great and dandy, but what I ended up with is an eating disorder. I'm like, don't, I still eat like, we talked about this last episode, I'm still eating things, but like in the back of your mind, now it's like, ooh, I look in the mirror, I'm like, I might have a little water weight, and I'm like, was it the Pepperidge Farm, Sausalito that I had? Is that what's sending me over the edge? Looking at yourself. So you develop an eating disorder, but maybe that's better than being, 300, 400 pounds like I was. So to get into something else that is, it's like, I don't know if you guys know YKK. If you don't know YKK, any zipper you looked at from like 1980 to, 2002 maybe, because I don't even see YKK no more. They were the zipper guys, okay? They were the zipper people. If you had a zipper on any article of clothing, I don't care if it was made by Nike, Adidas, Columbia jackets, I don't care if North Face had it, I don't care if Coach, Prada, everybody had a YKK zipper. Where are they? They're gone. I never had a zipper problem in my life unless like I caught my coat like, ripping it going down sleigh riding or something on like a nail that was sticking out of a tree. But those YKK friggin' zippers, they worked. I have like 4 coats right now. Let me just tell you what's going on. I got 4 jackets. They got them chintzy, thin, tiny little zipper teeth, the ones you need a microscope to look at, and they make a different noise when you zip them. It's not the it's it sounds like you just turned on a tiny fucking weed whacker. That's what these zippers sound like. I mean, what happened? And every time I turn around, it ain't zipped right. There's a hole in it. I got to guide it. It gets stuck. I got to rip the thing. First of all, it lets you rip it off, and then you can go back to the bottom and restart. You couldn't do that with a YKK zipper. Get those people back on the phone. I think they were from like the Philippines or something. Get YKK back. I want it on every article of clothing that I have again, okay? If I got zippers on the bottom of the soles of my shoes, I want YKK there, okay? If I commit a crime and you're gonna see the YKK, they're gonna be, that's Patrick, he's got the right zipper on the bottom of his shoe. Put my shoe together on the bottom. I don't want to put my foot through the ankle hole no more. I want to zip it, through the ball and the arch of my foot. That's how I feel like doing this. Because like my dad, I still got his army coat. It's got metal teeth at the zipper, okay? And I think even that's a YKK. Even metal ones, these are the ones that like, if they were on your jeans, you could tear a hole in your satchel. You could be losing your marbles, or crying for a week, or the other ones, you pinch the little meat in your hand here. Might as well cut the rest of your arm off, okay? That little pinch from that zipper ruined your day. And if it ever got stuck or one went over, now you got to throw the coat out because the zipper holds on so tight. Unless you get a seamstress to come over to your house, you're never getting it undone. But 99% of the time, worked like a charm, have a coat, 22 years, YKK, zipper, let's rock and roll. This is how we do it. Montel Jordan should do the goddamn theme song for bringing back YKK zippers. How are you the king of Zipperville for like at least the majority of my life, except for the last 10, 15 years, and you disappear. You had to have sold 1 billion zippers. Even if you're making 10 cents a zipper, that's a lot of money. And you got the patents probably. You got like the wherewithal and knowledge because you've been doing it for so long. You know, that's why people say, how long you been in business? Oh, 1 year. He might have not learned all the little ins and outs of things, you know, like the ingenuity from doing it. YKK, around since before I was born. Now disappeared. Find them. Somebody fly to the Philippines. Get on, Air Aruba, fly to the Philippines, get over there, find the guy who used to own the factory and say, hey, open back up, please, okay? There's people wearing coats that you can't zip no more because them tiny little flange zippers, and they look like little circles put together. Like somebody took the knitting loop and then just dipped it in plastic or something. Or like, silicone. Please. Oh, I can't stand it. And here's another thing that I don't know if you know this. So like I talked about it before with the vacuums. I got allergies, okay? And, would take like Claritin or like, Zyrtec and like, they would work for a little while and then, your body builds an immune system. They don't. So then you try using like, Flonase, but like after 2 weeks, like, your nose starts to bleed and you're like, oh, I can't be doing this. So I maybe used Afrin once or twice as a child. Like it wasn't one of the nose sprays I used. But like a few years ago, I found Afrin and you could go from suffocating to breathing instantly, okay? If you were having lack of oxygen in your blood, snort some Afrin, okay? Bing, bing. I took some Afrin before the show. Hear that? I could suck the dust mites out of the carpet. But there's something they don't tell you about. And, well, maybe they do. Maybe they do tell you. But they don't tell you that your nose can get addicted to it, okay? After 3 days, you're doomed because it reverses itself and starts swelling your nostrils shut. And the only way to fix it is the Afrin. Or you got to take a week off work, get an oxygen mask, look like you're a scuba diver and try to get your nose back to normal. Like, your nose got to go through withdrawal. Like you've been banging friggin' kratom or something, you got to fix it. So they don't tell you that about Afrin. So for the last year and a half, I've been on Afrin. I'm just waiting to get nose cancer because it can't be good for you every day, but I can't breathe. So I have to do Afrin. And unless I want to call out of work for a week because I won't be able to function, I'll be damn near, fainting from the lack of breathing going on, unless I put a tube down my neck and they feed me air like I'm in the hospital, like I was in a coma. That might be the only way to get off the Afrin. So call those people up and say, why'd you do this to PMoon? You ruined them. So will I be on Afrin for the rest of my life? I hope not, but I probably will be. So if anyone knows anybody at the Afrin Corporation, call them up, give them a middle finger because they have now trapped me. I am trapped. Okay, I fell down a hole. I was looking for One-Eye Willie, and I was a goonie. Okay, I'm hanging on. I'm playing a little bone piano, and now I'm down in the desert, down in a hole. The water's coming in, and what's the problem? The only thing that saves you, Afrin. So did I love it? Yes. Do I still use it? Yes. It's one of those things I don't want to, but I have to, and every time I use it, I love it. So it's like a constant battle. They know what they're doing. They did this to me. They trapped me. I fell victim to the system. So Afrin, get it together. Find a cure for your own thing. You make the flu, you make the flu virus. You make Afrin, make anti-Afrin. I need the antidote. I want to be, what do you call it? Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. I want you to put the antidote on that spinning table. I want you to rotate it with Mr. Mukachi or whatever the guy's name was from the thing, the little jade jar. And I want it to spin around. And then I want my little Asian friend to be there with the gun and say, you're giving him the Afrin. You're giving it to him. The antidote. He gets the antidote. Then a big music scene breaks out. Guys are banging gongs. And we're on the floor fighting, looking for the antidote to the Afrin. Because I know they have it and they're hiding it from me. And I got to be Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, trying to get the antidote. If it's out there, send it to me. I'll give you my address. Mail me the antidote. I can't stand this. I'm addicted to a nose spray. Who thought my life would end up this way? Like, Who thought I would end up with a nose spray addiction? Is that even a thing? What am I, in an opium den? Get it off me, please. Please, I'm crying for help right now. I'm crying, I'm begging you, please. Get Indiana Jones and Short Round over here to get the antidote. I want it, okay? Please save me. And if the podcast goes on for another 30 minutes, I'll have to take a pause and do another blast of Afrin. But anyways, on to something else here. So I don't know if you know this, but like my foster brother kind of got me into these, and I didn't really understand. But shoe trees, what a great invention. Do you know what they are? I'll tell you what they are. So I put them in these shoes all the time. I've had these shoes for months. Look how crisp and beautiful and shaped they are. They're basically a wooden cedar block with 2 springs, and it goes in and it pushes and it keeps your shoe in the right shape. Now, I'm sure they've been around since the 1800s, but I'm new to the game. So the last few years, my dress shoes for work, my sneakers that get that, that shady crimp, like you look like you've been running a marathon, but you only had them for a week. That don't happen no more. You wear them for the day, you put the shoe tree in, pops up, you got your space, you're there, running, living large, okay? And then your shoes look great all the time. You take a little soap and water, you shine them up, and you got great shoes forever. So if you're at home, I'm going to put it on my Amazon link to the shoe trees. Get some cedar ones. They also help get rid of any bad smells. So if you're running around trying to put baking soda on your feet, like what are you doing? You're baking cookies in your Nikes? I don't know what's going on, but get the shoe tree, fix the shape of your shoe, make your shoes last longer, save yourself some money. That's the way you go about life. Okay? And so I really like them. They do make your shoes last. So get yourself a pair and you can thank me later. Your Nikes, your dress shoes, your boots, whatever, because I hated that crimp. You could have, $200 sneakers. And then, 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, my Nike Airs look like they're disheveled. Like somebody folded it in half and with me when I was fat, sat on it for 2 weeks. Like, no, get out of here. I want my shoe looking nice. Give me the shoe tree, fix it, plus the cedar. It's like one of those old little chests that you keep a blanket in. That's how your shoe goes. Fix it, get it home. You guys go buy it. Thank you. You're welcome. Congratulations. Now you have a fixed shoe and you can walk around styling for just a long time. I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you now. So the other thing here, you guys obviously saw the, the raking of the leaves. So I got them in the piles the other day, out there with the kids. They're loving the new yard. They're chilling. I got to keep them away from the pool because, the things can hold like an elephant, but I still get scared. I don't want them around there. But, so today I'm out there with them, and now I'm putting all the leaves in the bag because you run out of daylight still. We got a little bit more time till summer, just a tiny bit till the sun's like way up in the sky. But we're out there, and I'm putting all the leaves in a bag, but there's all these sticks. We had this winter down here. Trees are snapped and busted. So did you know this? But like you can throw out leaves. Like you put them in a bag, you put them outside, they'll take the leaves. You know what they won't take? The sticks. Now, according to me, the sticks make the leaves, okay? One and the same, both part of the tree. Why can you take one part of the tree, but not the other part of the tree? Am I losing my mind? Like if somebody died, would the coroner come up and be like, we'll take everything but the fingernails and the left toe? Like, how does that not work? How I can't give you the sticks? Why can't I give you the sticks? I got to call another guy to get the sticks? Is there a stick man? What are they doing? Is a scarecrow going to come around town and be like, hey, I need another arm? And he pops on my acacia tree that broke off from the snow? I mean, what are we doing here? Well, how is this possible? So if I need help picking up the sticks, what am I going to do? Chop them all down into mulch? I might as well keep them at that point. But that's a lot of work. I'm working 50 hours a week, sometimes more. Plus with the kids, forget about it. It's nonstop. It's amazing that I get this podcast done. Please let me throw a stick out, okay? I'm going to give you a hard portion of a maple, or a fir tree. Everything's deciduous or coniferous, whatever they're doing. Take every part of the tree. Don't just show up and say, we'll take the light stuff that crinkles. No, that comes out of the hard part. You take the hard part with the crinkle part. That should be the thing. Call the town, come over here, get this shit out of my yard. I want it done immediately. okay? I got to be out there. What if there's a fire? They complain about fires all the time and all the brush. It's all in my yard because no one will pick it up, okay? What do? I don't got a truck. What do I look like? A Ford F-150? I'm a Raptor? Who do I got? I got to call somebody now? No, they're trees. You're part of the town. Clean it. Let's go. I pay taxes. Get it. come get the limbs. Come get the missing limbs. Let's go. You know, you're like an army doctor. You know, you're carrying limbs around. You know, you're like a guy on the battlefield carrying limbs around from Vietnam, and look, they're not real human limbs; they're just limbs from the trees. So those are the things you got to carry. And on top of that, you know, it's springtime, obviously. So like things like start going on, like bugs and nature start happening. They come alive when the snow melts. So we get a bug in the house. Now, been alive my whole life, always had a bug in the house occasionally. I'm not talking infestations, but impossible to never get a bug in your house. Can't do it. Will never happen unless you're in a suffocation rubber chamber house, which I don't think exists. You're getting a bug, okay? A mosquito's coming in, a fly's coming in, a moth's coming in, a spider's coming in, some weird beetle might come in, a ladybug. They're all attacking you. They're coming to get you. They want your life. But, you know, I try to be calm about it. Now, I don't like them either, but, you know, the man of the house, so gotta play it cool. So the kids are upstairs and they're in the hallway and they're like, oh, it's a ladybug. It's a ladybug. I go up there. It's not a ladybug. It's like, you know, one of those, you know, carpenter beetles or something. Now, she's having a panic attack. She's like, I can't live in this home. They're going to eat our children. I'm like, you've been alive for 40 years. You haven't got eaten by nature yet, okay? When you die, you may, because you're being ground, but until then, you haven't got eaten by nature, okay? You don't live in a wolf pack or around mountain lions. So nature's not eating you yet, okay? You may get a tick bite, and now you got something in common with deer. But whatever, go out there, live in the wilderness, you know, be Mowgli. Do something. Get it together. Put a leaf over your private parts, run out in the woods, and be Mowgli, okay? In the meantime, you're going to get a bug in your house. They're coming. You can't avoid them. They're going to be there, okay? There's going to be a spider that attacks your kid, and you're going to freak out. Anyways, she's definitely afraid of the bugs, now that I'm, like, reeling myself in here. So I try to be calm about it, and I'm like, you know, babe, it's going to happen. It's springtime. Like, they're coming. You know, Aiden's outside playing. We're jumping in leaves. Like, you know, you're going to get a bug in the house. She's like, you have to call the Orkin man, and now you have to spray death poison around me and all the children. I'm like, I feel safer with the mayfly, okay? Because mayfly not going to kill me. But dihydroxythiazine, or whatever the heck they're spraying around my house and all my kids are rolling around in it, seems pretty much like cancer at the drive-thru. Hey, get over here. Show up at my door, spray some chemicals that cause cancer around here, and let my children die early ages, okay? Rather than you having to kill a ladybug. I can't stand it. So tell her, stop being afraid of it. Somebody who knows her, call her up and say, don't be afraid of bugs no more. But actually, I'm scared to death of bugs as well, so I'm just talking nonsense. Because if I feel something on me, I'm in complete panic mode. I'm like wondering, is my hair growing too much? You know, did the wind brush me? Something's on me, okay? Absolutely nuts. So, true story here. My dad made me watch Arachnophobia as a child, okay? It was like 1991. It's probably like 9, whatever it was. I couldn't sleep for a month. I went from the bed to the floor to the couch to the basement. Everywhere I went, spiders on me, okay? They lived inside my veins. I didn't know what the problem was. Don't ever watch that movie. It'll change your life. It'll ruin you forever. And I don't think my wife saw it, but she's just as scared as I am like that. But I gotta be TRT tough guy. So here I am playing both roles. Anyways, so now I'm like trying to convince her, and then like she saw a fly, and now she's like, the whole house is coming down. There's bugs everywhere. We're gonna take. So her mother calls her, and she's like, you know, don't open the windows. You know, you get bugs. And she's like, I couldn't open the windows because like it's starting to get hot now. And she's like, I didn't want to put the AC on. And she's like, so, I just did, I just like left the windows be. And I walk over there and I just start flicking. What's that thing that you keep on windows? I think you call it a screen. Have you ever heard of screens? They're designed to keep the majority of bugs and stuff out. Okay? That's why people have screens. She don't realize that that's what they're for. If you just wanted air to pass through, why block it up with a screen? The screen is for the bugs. That's what it's there for. So open the window so I don't die, but also keep an eye out for bugs because I don't want to die from them either. So there's no real answer to this. This is just a tank hole of be afraid of bugs. So, I'm definitely afraid. So I'm outside, it's dad duty. I'm teaching kids about I'm cleaning up the yard. I'm teaching kids about outdoors because they were in the old folks, neighborhood and didn't go outside for like 2 years. So they're probably lapsed in things they need to learn about. You're welcome. Because daddy didn't have his life together or soon enough. He was starting to, but COVID, tanking everything, all that nonsense. So I'm out there, and I'm moving. I used to play outside a lot when I was a kid and younger, worms and salamanders and, the beetles and bugs. And you could, you lift up a rock, you see them. But now I've been in a desk job for a long time. I got to get back to my roots. I'm flipping over cinder blocks in the yard and there's bugs scattering. But my children are there. So I got to squeeze my hands, clench my fists, and become Papa Tough Guy. Okay? Tough Guy, Papa. That's me. So then I lift up the one rock, there's worms. And I'm like, damn it, there's worms. I don't like touching them. They're slimy. Don't touch them. They suck. Their whole life is a nose that just crimps along and just eats your skin particles or something. I don't know what they do. But me, trying to be dad, trying to teach kids is here we go. So I'm like, swallow your pride, put your fear in your pocket, and let's do this for your children. So I pick up the worm and I'm like, here, Binks, look at the worm. Now they're all afraid. It's, my daughter, my 2 sons are afraid. But I gotta lead the way here. I gotta be the captain of the ship, I don't want mutiny amongst my ranks, So I pick up the worm and I'm holding it, and meanwhile I'm like, why am I doing this? You don't have to live this way. You're no longer in a doghouse with outhouses in your backyard. You don't have to live this way with the worm. But I gotta do it because we gotta teach them. So holding the worm, and then that gives I can see it. It gives my son Big's confidence. He comes over and he starts touching it. So I'm like, all right, this is turning out good. And then he gets the guy at first he's like but then he got the guts up. Then he started holding it. And my daughter, who was scared too, now she's coming over and she finally gets the guts up, to touch it. And she's like, oh my God, it's kissing you, because she sees that little nose thing that. It's just an aardvark without a body. I don't know what it is, but it's puckering at you. You can see it. You can see it trying to dig a hole through your palm, but it ain't strong enough to get there. Imagine worms were big. Yeah, that was the movie Tremors. So that's what would happen. Kevin Bacon would show up if those things got any bigger. So I don't even know if we should put fertilizer out there, because they start getting nutrients. They're taking over the planet. Okay. You're going to be out there with some guy standing on a roof, don't move, don't turn on music, because the worms are going to get you. But anyways, daughter starts touching the worm. Okay. Daughter starts touching the worm. I get her to hold it for 1 second, then she panics. My other son comes over. He's, at least touches it a couple times. And I think that's the end of it. So, now I guess I've built the confidence in him doing my dad duty. And, the next rock, they're like, oh, there's more worms. So I'm like, now I got to pick up a worm under every rock I flip over. And there's 36 rocks. The guy left cinder blocks everywhere around here. And I don't want to buy a mower and blow the blade off, okay? I don't want shrapnel from, a desert storm flying off and killing one of my children. So I'm going to get the stones out of there. But while I'm doing this, you got worm duty. Now, I was praying for a salamander because there used to be these little black ones with the orange stripes. We used to do the salamander. Those were kind of cool. But, it's been 20 years since I touched worms. So now I got to keep up the tough dad, duty. But I don't want to. I want to be scared like they are. But can't be. Got to stand your ground. Do your job as a dad. Okay? But these are moments you're going to have. So have kids, touch worms, and don't hope they don't get too big and Kevin Bacon comes knocking on your door. Okay, so get out of here with that. So, meanwhile, they're like jumping in the piles and I got them carrying sticks and I'm thinking I'm doing a good job, But, I'm looking at them and while they're running around and I don't know why I got the most random thought ever. Okay, I'm looking at my children. And I go, and I'm going to ask you guys, and maybe some of you know this, because in the 80s and 90s, these kids existed. They don't exist anymore. Did you know there is no more Toys R Us kids? What? What happened there? Did something go on? Did the giraffe, can get gonorrhea and like scare all the children out of the store? How do you go from the most giant toy factory on the planet? You even created kids. You got Toys R Us kids. You made a breed of children. Like you were at the kennel club in New York and your dog's trotting around and you made like a snickerdoodle poodle type of dog. You made Toys R Us kids. Like you had kids with that kind of DNA. Maybe it was mixed with the giraffe, Jeffrey. Maybe Jeffrey was like banging chicks or something. Like whatever happened, but there was Toys R Us kids. So I'm looking at my kids and I'm going, you know what? There's no more Toys R Us kids. There'll never be Toys R Us kids. They won't be infected by Toys R Us kids. But that was like a great thing back in the day. You see that giraffe, maybe his neck was so long so he could look on the top shelves that because you're in a store. Toys R Us, I think this is why they went out of business. Everybody that's your client is under 4 feet tall. Why you got shelves taller than that? Is that why you had the giraffe? Was he supposed to look for the Lego box that was missing from downstairs? Was that the whole thing behind it? Was that the conspiracy? Because I remember being in Toys R Us and going, hey, I don't know what's on level 7. And some of them were taller than like the shelves at ShopRite and your grocery store. Some of the toys in Toys R Us shelves were so high, I don't know if they even knocked the dust off those things. That's probably why they went out of business. Most people didn't even see half the product because it was up so high. I mean, what do you do? And back then, you didn't see those mechanicalized ladder things or, scissor lifts, whatever they call them. And they damn sure weren't letting kids on them. I'm telling you. And if they were thinking that the giraffe was there was never a live giraffe at the store that could talk. So if there was a live giraffe at the store that could talk, maybe he could have saw the stuff on the top shelf, said, hey, little Timmy, I got the special, board game, or I got this special Beanie Baby or this Lego set that you've been looking for, but you can't see because you can't get on the rides yet at Great Adventure because you're tiny. You're tiny, okay? You're midget. And you can't see the stuff. I think maybe that's the thing. Go into the corporate history of Toys R Us. I want to know why they failed. How do you be the giantest toy person on earth? And don't tell me the internet, okay? Because you just could have made ToysRUs.com and been bigger than everybody. I mean, what the hell happens? How do these things go on? And did the owner die and the giraffe-loving son that snorted blow for 6 years was like, yeah, we don't need to look at the shelves. I mean, what happens? Come on. My kids will never be a Toys R Us kid. They're never going to get girafferia. I can't stand this. So, speaking of toys, there used to be commercials that would get you so hyped when you saw a toy. Okay, Super Soakers, Roller Racer, which we for some reason called it Roller Rooter, but it's not a plumber. But it was that stupid red seat with the little bars and the little handles, and you had to wiggle yourself around the neighborhood. Now, if there's even the slightest hill around you, if you didn't live in the Great Plains of America, why would you buy that toy? You can't go up a hill. Okay, so we had hills by us. The one kid down the street, Andy, got one. we were all hyped because our parents never got us one, but that kid got one. So we were all like, after the commercials, thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever. Worst invention ever. It's a seat with a dolly wheels, okay? Doesn't do you any good, but still we were hyped about it. So anyways, there's hills all in the neighborhood. So you can't go up them. And everything that's not that flat, anything that's more than a 1% incline, the thing's done, cancel it. Throw it out, burn the seat, use the handlebars to like beat up your neighbor and rob a house or something. That's what needs to go on. So we used to take this thing, and one day, don't ask me why, as a child, that people would have the most random shit in their houses. My buddy here had an actual set of solid, what do you call it? Bowling pins. Okay. Who has bowling pins? I can't name a person except for him back in the day. And why do you keep them? What are you doing with them? You need a lane with wax. You need a machine to drop them down. And then you need balls that weigh so much your car sits sideways when you drive into the place. That's why you have to go to a bowling alley. There's too much heavy stuff. And there's too much, you need a long board with wax and you can't step over it because they'll yell at you, And it's a game that, like, the ball's so heavy, you're going to screw up throwing it up. They put bumpers out, all that. So let me ask you this. Why do you have a set of solid 14,000 pound, bowling pins? I don't know. People had wacky stuff like that back in the day. So us kids thinking, great idea. Can't use the rotor-rooter thing, the roller racer, whatever you want to call it, on the ground. So you know what? I take the thing to the top of the hill, probably like, 9, 10 years old, whatever. And I would be like, well, what's better than using these random bowling pins as something to aim for? So here's the thing. Again, it's a seat, inches from the ground. Don't lean, you'll scuff your knuckles off. You will look like a professional boxer at the age of 8 who just got into a bare knuckle fight, fighting the friggin', the guy from kickboxing that was trying to kick down the beams in the building, okay? That's what would happen to your knuckles. Don't lean, don't drag your hands, you're gonna be missing fingers. Anyways, at the top of the hill, going down, what a bright idea. I'm going to take the roller-rooter, roller racer, whatever you want to call it, down the hill, and I'm going to try to get a strike. Best idea I should have never had. Okay? Because, again, each bowling pin weighs probably 27 pounds. So I fly down the hill, I'm like, I'm going for it, kid. And like, you're proud of yourself in these type of moments. Like, yeah, I'm a daredevil, Evel Knievel ain't got, nothing on me, even though Meredith is with him at the Grand Canyon doing jumps because she left the condo neighborhood, but whatever. So whipping down, flying, smacking to these damn pins. I don't know. I think I got bruises on every limb of my body, scuffed my hands and skull up. I had bowling pin knots on my arms, my head, my skull. And back then, we had to try to be the tough guy. I was so hurt, but you're not allowed to cry, okay? So I got to go and go, I'm okay, and then try to hang out until the pain goes away. That's how we grew up. You got hurt, you suckered it up. You ate it. You got hurt, you kept it inside. You cry, you don't hang out no more. You're not allowed in the neighborhood. So that's how that worked. We lost a lot of friends because they cried when they got hurt. You had to be a kid that, held in your tears when you got hurt, or otherwise nobody wanted to hang out with you. You'd be like, hey, that crybaby up the street, we don't want to deal with him, even though all of us wanted to cry. But I think that taught you something, hold your tears in, man up, stick it out, deal with it. And I think that ingrained something good in you. So if you're out there and you're getting hurt, don't cry in front of your friends, hold it in. Unless you break a limb and you lose an ankle or something, hold it in, okay? I don't care if you lose a patch of skin, you got a concussion, you hold it in, okay? Toughen up out there, kids. Otherwise, you're not allowed to hang out. And then you go in and you fade into darkness and nobody remembers you. So go get hurt, don't cry, get back on the roller-rooter thing and go down and hit some bowling pins, okay? So, I mean, this is the type of world. This is the 80s, 90s. So this is the type of phone we had. Nintendo had barely come out, and like nobody really had it. I mean, people started to get it. We all ended up having it, but like you weren't allowed to play inside. Like, there was only one TV in most houses. So like, your mom, if she was home, because there was no parents around when we grew up, but like, you weren't allowed inside to play. So, and if you had more than two friends, video games suck because there's usually 9 of us hanging out. So didn't work. So you had to come up with shit. So that was the thing. You drive down the hill. We used to take these tractors. But my buddy's mom, I swear, this would be like something you see like on the internet now for like, going viral. She used to take a 55-gallon oil drum. Again, who has an oil drum? Like, now, if you combine having an oil drum, 55-gallon one, and a real set of bowling pins, you are an anomaly. Go play the lottery. You're something else. There was probably some other weird, random things that were going on there. But these things don't add up. They're just items you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have bowling pins and 55-gallon drums in your yard unless it was the 80s and you were in New Jersey and you had wacky people from all over the place moving into this state. So anyways, 55-gallon drum. We'd stack 2 of us in there up on top of this hill. And you'd get in and you'd be like, yeah, we're ready. Now, there's no steering. Now, this is also a street. So there's things called cars that come around. You ever heard of a car? Yes, you have. You heard me jump out of the window one. So we'd roll. And then on top of it, there's a lake you could drown in on the end. So this is like 7 levels of death, okay? Whatever that video was you could rent, Faces of Death. This is one of the things that you're lucky it wasn't recorded because we should have died, okay? Going downhill, spinning, 55-gallon drum, no steering, lake, cars and traffic. That's how you run. That's how you grow up. You climb into drums and you roll down hills, okay? You get it together, and then your buddies on a mini Big Bird, Power Wheel, just ripping it. Why that thing's the fastest? I don't know. It's got the tiniest wheels on the planet. It's faster than the roller racer. It's faster than the green tractor, and it's faster than the 55-gallon drum. And that's the little tricycle you want to be on when you're racing down the hill. And once everybody knows it's the fastest, that's the Big Bird, little trike with the pedals and the wheel in the front. That's the one you want because you want to win the race every time because you're a winner. And you're a winner because you're watching us here, okay? And I got another thing for you. So this just happened today as well. I've been hearing this and I've been eating this for my whole life. Now, I'm New Jersey, New York. I'm multicultural, okay? I got like a black dad, that I call dad that I grew up with. You got Spanish people. You got people from the South that move up. You got Baptists that show up around the neighborhood. You got people from all over the place. And everybody, no matter where they're from, whoever makes it, they all say that baked, homemade mac and cheese is the bomb. I've had it from every continent. It's never good. I don't know who told you that. I've had every woman from every race make me that damn friggin' homemade macaroni and cheese. It's never good. But yet everybody says it's good. What is that? Is it because you feel bad for the woman and this just became like a cultural thing? Is it like the toilet seat? You know what I mean? Like, is that what happened? Because I feel bad to say it, but my wife made it today. She's Italian, so, crushes the Italian dishes, crushes American dishes. And my wife can like find a recipe and like nail it to the T. And she's even smart enough because somehow whoever writes these recipe books, not one of them ever have enough sauce, okay? You're making marsala out of a cookbook. There's only enough friggin', sauce to cover the fucking one piece of chicken. So my wife has figured it out that I got to make double the sauce, okay? So she does a great job with that and saves these dishes because she's made them, all different cookbooks, Paula Dean's, knocking on your door, like this is how you do it. And then you got a tablespoon of barbecue, lemon chicken, spiced tahini sauce, and the whole thing is the sauce, is the whole thing. But they don't give you enough, so my wife figured out how to double it and make everything better. But anyways, the macaroni and cheese, I don't care who you are. And everybody's going to get pissed, and I'm going to hear shit about this. I know it. You got to try my grandma's. You got to try Aunt Bertha's. You got to try this. It's never good. And why? Breadcrumbs. I don't want them on there. And it's never cheesy. It never stacks up to Kraft or Velveeta. It doesn't. Okay, it's never saucy, and it's never. And even you go to a restaurant, like Outback used to have a mac and cheese. It was okay because the cheese was saucy, but this baked nonsense, and then they tell you to put an egg in it. Why? I don't want an egg in my mac and cheese unless you're doing that to make the noodles homemade, and then just put cheese and milk in there and salt and pepper. I don't want it. So get it together. I don't care who this upsets. This baked macaroni and cheese has got to go. Whatever, like popular, it went viral before it was viral, and everybody swears by it. I've had it in multiple states from dozens and dozens of great cooks. Like moms, I used to go, Puerto Rican mama, I'm going to sit at your table. Let's go. And everybody's like, it's the greatest. Terrible. Sucks. And you could never tell her because you love her. And I think maybe that's what everybody else was doing. Or maybe I'm the only guy that realizes it's dry. I don't want your catchy egg. It sucks up all the cheese. It comes out like a brick. I want it to be mixable. What is happening? So I swear. So she made the damn macaroni and cheese. And she's like, she brought it out to the yard. I'm out there with the leaves. And she's like, and this is just because I'm a bad guy. She's like, taste this. And I taste it. And I know I have the moment where I should go, oh, this is great, honey. I actually love this. This is just so sweet and delightful. But my wife knows me. And so I'm going to be in trouble if I tell the truth. And I'm going to be in trouble if I lie about it. So she puts me in these situations where I'm in trouble no matter what. And just totally doomed, okay? I am in the castle of Grayskull, okay? Skeletor is coming here, Mr. Doom is showing up at the door. So I know I'm screwed when it comes to this, but I choose to do the high road because I try to be a moral man. I tell the truth and I say, babe, it's not very good. Is there any cheese in it? Oh, there was 14 pounds of cheese in here. And then I go, where is it? Did the noodles eat it? Are the noodles worms? Is Kevin Bacon at our front door looking through the glass? What's going on in there? Because somebody ate the cheese. I don't know. But everyone who's ever made it, that's what happens. And I'm tired of it. So, fix it up. And then here's the last kicker of the day. This is what I swear. So we're out there doing the leaves. And, the kids playing when she brings us all water. The kids always have their own water cups. We have a water cup. And, my daughter, Sharky, she's taking the cups. She's got bubbles pouring. They're throwing them in the dirt. They're stabbing sticks in them. Then my cup's out there. They're knocking it over. There's rocks in it. So I think because she's secretly she's in love with me sometimes. And then I think sometimes she's not. And maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe because I'm a wacko. I'm a little relentless, but I have a good heart. I mean well, I love well. I see the world a little bit different, but she cleans all the kids' cups, cleans her cup, and her cup wasn't even outside. Doesn't clean my cup. And I took a sip out of it. Oh, there's a problem happening right now. I know there was stones from the yard in there from my daughter, and she does too. And she waited for me to drink it. I think she secretly wants me to get earth bacteria and have a bad day or die. I do have a big life insurance policy, so maybe that's what she's going for. But that can't be the case because she's my loving wife. But after I drink it, she goes, oh, by the way, that's the only cup I didn't wash. And she looks at me and I'm like, secretly, is this one of her things? One of my things? So, she's like, oh, don't be upset with me. And I'm like, I'm not really upset, but it's I kind of know she don't love me enough to clean my cup. But at the same time, maybe she's giving payback for all the nonsense that I do. So next time your husband goes outside, go out there. Kids are screwing with the cups, clean the cups so he doesn't get sick because, he's got to love you and take care of children. So I just want to be put it together here. everybody, we love you. This has been episode 7. I think we're starting to find our groove with how this show is supposed to be running. So I'm going to say it again. Everybody, get out there. Get off your couch. Get into your phone. Go to your neighbor's house. Literally, pick up your buddy's phone because we have to get to 1 million. So pick up your friend's phone, your mom's phone at the house. Open up, the app, the YouTube, whatever, Facebook, hit the follow, hit the subscribe, and let's help us get to 1 million. Get out there, because we have things like this that we need to bring into the atmosphere of this planet. We got to talk about being in shape, nose issues, worms with your kids, and just building a life here in America, where your kid can read. So get out there. Let's grow this baby. This is episode 7. What are we doing? What are we doing? Huh? We going to town? We going to town? Episode 7. Let's go. PMooniacs are on the building. We're growing. This is getting bigger every day. We love you. Thank you. We hope it becomes a little bit of a better time for us around here. Get the subscribers growing. Let's bop to some music. Let's make this thing happen. I love every one of you for helping this thing grow. We're getting badges left and right, but let's have a great time here. Let's go. Thank you. Episode 7.